Yeah, last time we were discussing about how the mind, when controlled, actually we become completely immune to all kinds of problems in this world. Even if the problem is due to our own past misdeeds, still we can overcome or be unaffected by problems if we control our mind. So in this sixth verse of the sixth chapter, Krishna is talking about how the controlled mind is the best of friends and the uncontrolled mind is the worst of enemies. So we just recite this. Bandhur atmatmanastasya
बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य
येनात्मैवात्मना जितः
येनात्मेवात्मना जिता
अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे
अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे
वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
Yeah. Can you read?
For him who has conquered the mind is best of friends, but for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy.
So last time we went through the purport, and Prabhupada says, why to make the mind a friend? Just so that we can discharge the most important part of being having this human body, the human mission. Hare Krishna, seeing you after a long time.
Yeah, sorry.
And it was Radhe Shyam, right?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I see people have a tendency to sit along the walls. So why to make mind a friend? Not just it helps us to carry out our day-to-day duties, but the most important part of making the mind our friend is that we can discharge the human mission. So what is the human mission? To those of you who were there last time, want to discuss what is human mission?
To serve God.
To serve God. Yes. To quit the cycle of birth and death. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam, punarapi marana, punarapi janani, jatare shayanam, idu samsara, bahudukare, kripaya pare, pahi murare, bhaja govindam, bhaja govindam, Govindam bhaja mudhamate. So in this, Shankaracharya is explaining that again and again we take birth in this world and again we die. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. And again punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Again after we die, again we take birth. Again one has to enter woman's womb. Again, in this world spend time and again die. So this cycle of birth and death is going on. Sometimes we are going up, sometimes we are going down. Sometimes we are going up, sometimes we are going down. So usually Ferris wheel is not very dangerous, right? But say this is a high speed Ferris wheel. So in a high speed Ferris wheel, when you go up, because of the torque, you feel as if you're about to fall. So when you keep on going round and round and round, now you want to exit the Ferris wheel. Can you exit from the top? You can by jumping, but you will not stay alive. You can exit the Ferris wheel from the top, but you won't stay alive. How do you exit the Ferris wheel?
Wait until it comes down.
Yeah, you have to come down. There's an exit point. That's where you can get down. So, human form of life is that gateway through which we can end the cycle of birth and death. Otherwise, in the high speed cycle of birth and death, we are again and again undergoing success, failure, profit, loss. I mean, of course, we don't mind success, profit, but we do mind loss and failures. But Krishna explains, and the Srimad Bhagavatam explains, in this world you cannot get one without the other. If you want success, you also get failure. Buy one, get one free. You get purchase success, you get failure free of cost. You purchase profit, you get loss. A profit and success you cannot have. You purchase happiness, you get distress, isn't it? So these two things, they are like pair. You get these things only in pair. So therefore, if we don't want suffering in this world, one needs to see how to stop suffering. And therefore, the human mission begins when we first question how to stop suffering. Why am I suffering? Hmm. None of us want suffering, but we are forced to suffer. Suffering is inflicted upon us. We are forced to suffer, though we don't want to suffer, isn't it? And therefore, the living entities become very miserable in this material world. Some of you might be thinking, what are you talking about? I'm doing pretty well, isn't it? So that is called as avidya, where one thinks I'm still doing well, even though one is suffering. Like a drunkard person, he is lying in the gutter, having drunk to his such that he has lost his consciousness. But he gets up and he sees everyone, and you look at him. He feels you're suffering, but we feel he's suffering. So who is suffering? Sure, but he thinks you're suffering. At least for the situation, we know he's suffering for sure. Even if I'm doubtful if I'm suffering or not, he's for sure suffering in the gutter, in a filthy place, having drunk and losing his consciousness like that, isn't it? So, similarly, when we develop our consciousness, we become God conscious, then our consciousness opens up like a blossoming of a flower. So, from the higher platform, you can see a lower platform. You can understand, okay, this is a lower platform. That means you're standing on the street and you're seeing a man lying in the gutter. So, he is suffering. But someone who is above, who's at a better platform of consciousness, can see, look at us and say, oh, we are suffering. You're able to understand? For example, um, we might be in this engaged in this world trying to enjoy. And what type of enjoyment? Sensual enjoyment. Whether it be with respect to any of the senses. Especially Gyanendriyas. Gyanendriyas means the eyes. We want to enjoy through sight, through vision, through hearing, through the ears, tasting through the tongue, touch through the skin, and smell from the nose. This is how we want to enjoy in this world. So, because we are looking for material pleasures, material pleasures means pleasure derived from material sense objects. Now, there's nothing great about them because Krishna says, as we've already gone through, Yehi samsparsha jha bhoga, dukkha yonaya evate, adi antamantah kante nateshu ramate buddha. The wise person doesn't really go for those pleasures which are temporary, isn't it? Because we have a tendency to look for pleasures which are eternal, because we want to be eternally happy. Not today happy, tomorrow distress, and again day after tomorrow happy. We want always happiness. And therefore, Krishna says the way to do that is we have to know where to look for happiness, isn't it? So, a person who is on the platform of liberation, who is ready to quit the cycle of birth and death, such a person can look at the people of this material world being engaged in material duties or material activities, trying to derive pleasure in the material affairs, and he can understand these people are suffering. Be able to understand? So it takes one's consciousness to understand the suffering of this material world. Like once I went to a hostel in Bangalore. We were doing book distribution. I knocked on the door and said, here we are distributing Bhagavad Gita. Why don't you take it? He said, why should I take it? I said, because it'll make your life, you will become happy in your life. He said, I'm already happy. I said, you will become even more happier. He said, I don't want. I'm enough happy. But if you see in the day to day lives, actually, we are all suffering every day. How? There'll be a common cold, some headache, some flu, someone died, mm, or we didn't get what we want, job nahi hai, or no interviews. So many problems are there, isn't it? How many of you have suffered something today, honestly speaking? Others, you're on the top of you're on cloud nine today. Huh? We also could have suffered boredom. Probably that's why we ended up in the temple today. We have nothing else to do. That is also suffering. Loneliness is also suffering. Homesickness is also suffering. These are mental suffering. Mm. Everyone is suffering in this world, not once in a while, very often, very frequently. And therefore, Sri Prabhupada says in this purport, see, the purpose of practicing the Ashtanga Yoga system, Eightfold Yoga, yeah, is to control the mind in order to make it a friend in discharging the human mission. And the human mission is therefore to put a full stop to all suffering. No more suffering, no more exams, no more competition, no more bad habits, no more fighting, no more wars, no more politics, no more you know, diplomatic behavior, no backbiting, no criticizing others. These are all different kinds of suffering we undergo on a daily basis, isn't it? Now we have heard of the Los Angeles fires. Fires. How can fire be plural? Because there were multiple in all different directions. Los Angeles fires. Mm. I heard the Palisades fire is still going on. Mm. So you see, and the news was mentioning that even the rich people lost their homes. Amazing, right? The money could not save them. Rich people lost their homes. Poor people lost their homes, as in the workers, they also lost their homes. And no one expected. You know what is the cause of a forest fire? Who lights up that fire? Sun. Okay.
Dryness.
Dryness. Okay.
Human.
But how? Dryness?
Human.
Human induced. Human induced. So who is it?
It could be probably
They should catch him and stone him to death. He's lighting.
Be an honest mistake.
Yeah. Honest mistake. No, how? Like by mistake he set a fire to the forest.
Not on that. But maybe he was cooking and he forgot.
Okay. He cooking and forgot.
Completely-
Okay.
completely-
So it started with the house, burst in the house, and that caught fire to the forest. Like that you're saying?
No.
Mhm.
Probably in California they like to go to
Camping.
sites and
Camping from there. Okay. Any other understand forest fire? Who starts forest fire?
No one.
Whom to catch? No one?
Starts it.
No one starts
It's
it?
a natural process.
Okay, it's a natural process. How does it happen naturally?
I mean, when the trees are dry and there's extreme heat, the leaves of the trees tend to just, kind of get burnt, and then that's how the forest fire spreads.
Okay, by the heat of the sun on the dry leaves.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other causes of forest fire? Anyone knows?
Forest fire.
Due to the wind,
Due to the
wind,
okay, wind is also part of it.
when the
Thank you.
trees rub each other and then the wind
Yeah,
kill
correct.
everything, it causes fire.
Correct. Fiction. Thank you. You were saying, Prabhu?
Some condition was there mostly because for last 2 years they had been receiving
Right.
extraordinary rainfall. You had like low-lying vegetation growing up, but this past year there was no rain, so it was a
Right.
very dry situation. So even a minute spark can
Yeah.
so,
Ignite the entire forest.
and there might be multiple causes for those sparks.
Very true. So don't you think nature is pretty cruel? Because there's so many innocent people. I'm pretty sure entire Los Angeles wasn't a prison cell who were persecuted. So the innocent people also were killed. So don't you think God is pretty cruel, isn't it? So who caused this forest fire? Actually, how forest fires happen, even skipping over the immediate cause of forest fire, why forest fire happens is because of one's own karma. So you will find the law of karma is present where how we deal with nature, how we deal with other people comes as a what is that thing called? You throw and it comes back? Boomerang. It boomerangs back to us. Our own behavior and our own dealings. So therefore when material nature sees a lot of people who are coming together who are all it's called collective karma. When we do good, good comes back. When we do bad, bad comes back. You know this, right? Newton's third law. So this is called as law of karma. But when many people do bad, I also do bad, you also do bad, you also do bad, you also do. So we're all doing bad collectively, or we have all come to a same location. Then why do natural disasters happen? Because material nature, instead of giving one reaction to one karma, she just wipes out the entire karma. She just gives a reaction to entire population. And this is not just in case of forest fire. In case of any natural disasters, like even where was the 7.1 magnitude earthquake? Tibet, right? The recent one. You heard of that? Turkey also, and here 7.1. Wait, wait, I'm talking about recent, like last week. Yeah.
Tibet, Nepal,
Tibet, yeah.
India.
And even San Francisco had a 2.9 or something, right? Recent.
Normal.
That's normal, yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, San Francisco also had. Then there was tsunami, and Florida keeps getting storms. That's not normal now, isn't it? So many natural disasters. So even if we want to be peaceful, we cannot do without spirituality because we keep suffering in this world, whether you ask for it or not. Suffering exists. It's a fact, and therefore, human mission means we want to put a full stop to such suffering. See, I'm pretty sure Los Angeles was set to fire. I'm pretty sure nothing will happen in New York City. Right? Can anyone say? Write and give? Nothing will happen in New York City. God knows. 9/11, New York City. Some crazy guy had to hit the World Trade Center. Yeah, the Twin Tower. Yeah. So that time we were in, people in New York City were in big trouble. Did they expect? Did they get a notification? Tomorrow some flight is going to hit a building, be careful. No. So in this way, the suffering comes without asking. And therefore, if we can, Krishna is urging Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita to tell Arjuna, understand what is the goal of life. The goal of life is to quit the cycle of birth and death. Because till the time we are in the material world, you can always expect suffering. Actually, if you're in the material world and not have suffering, something is really wrong. Despite your best karma in the past, everyone has to suffer in this world. And therefore, Krishna calls it Dukkalayam Ashashvatam. Dukkha Alayam means an abode of sorrow. He's the creator, but he calls his creation as an abode of sorrow. Like some people have, Vaikuntha Nilayam apartment. That means like a spiritual world, they say. Or Sukhalayam apartments, abode of happiness. They would like to name your home nicely, but Krishna names his creation as abode of sorrow, abode of distress. So Krishna himself has stamped it as abode of distress, but we have some extra hope. Still, something nice will turn out, and therefore Krishna is urging Arjuna. Arjuna, understand. You might be engaged in different duties. That's all. That's okay. But at the end of the day, focus on the ultimate goal of life. And sometimes we know the ultimate goal of life is to quit the cycle of birth and death, to find ultimate happiness. But to pursue that also requires control of mind. And therefore, Krishna is saying the whole point, why is control of mind important? Apart from its importance in day to day activities, even to focus it on discharging the human mission, the control of mind is required. Otherwise, mind distracts us by temporary things. By looking towards something temporary, we might forget that which is permanent. So, therefore, here it's written control of mind in order to make it a friend in discharging human mission. Yeah. So, last time we discussed this purport, and you see here, this is another statement. As long as one's mind remains an unconquered enemy, one has to serve the dictations of lust, anger, avarice, illusion. Isn't it? That means one will be forced by bad habits. One will be forced to be its slave. Why? Mind is uncontrolled. mind is not pure. And therefore one remains an unconquered. As long as mind remains an unconquered enemy, one has to serve the dictations of lust. Anger is mostly a family crime, it is said. That means in the fit of anger one even forgets the most dear relationship. Doesn't matter anymore, at least at that moment. And when the bullet is shot, then he worries, what did I do? But it's too late, isn't it? So this is the problem with lust, anger, and greed. And therefore the bad habits are haunting us. Many of us want to overcome it, but it is not possible because the mind is uncontrolled. Mm. Yeah. So we were talking about how to control the mind last time, and we discussed about the regular meditation for the mind, spiritual practice, and we discussed about chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Why to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Because first of all, it is a spiritual sound vibration. It is not that ISKCON is propagating Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So we will propagate, some other mantra. Not like that. Kali Santana Upanishad. Kali Santarana Upanishad says,
Santaran.
yeah, Santaran. Santarana is Sanskrit, not Hindi. Santaran would be Hindi. This is Sanskrit. Kali Santarana Upanishad. In Kali Santarana Upanishad, it is said, this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra rids one of all sinful reactions of the past. Iti Shodashakam Namnam Kali Kalmasha Nashanam Natra Paratrayopaya Sarvavedeshu Drishyate. And therefore, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it's called as Mahamantra because it is the great mantra for deliverance of the living entities from this world to spiritual world. And mantra means to free the mind. Hmm? Man means mind, tra means trayate, to free the mind of all anxieties, of all bad habits, of all conditionings is called as mantra. So if we want to really control the mind, we want to work towards purifying the mind. So anything to do with Krishna is like, your washing powder Nirma. Hmm? So you know that ad, they have a dirty t-shirt and one bar, washing powder bar or something, Nirma bar goes through and immediately white patch is there, isn't it? So Krishna is like that. He's called as antiseptic and what is the other word? Antiseptic and one more word is in Ishopanishad. Let me show it to you. Yeah, yeah, asna, not asnaviram. Apapavidham. Apapavidham means prophylactic. Mhm. That means Krishna is compared to the sun. Now, sun, see, sometimes in New York, there's some people who have no manners. They sometimes go out in the building when no one's seeing, they will even pass water in the street. And you can even smell the subway. Such beautiful aroma is there of urine everywhere. Why? Because people don't care. And you know why the smell is still there? Because there's no sun. In the outside, under the sun, in nature, if you pass water, sun absorbs the urine. And immediately the place is rendered clean. In nature, if you pass water. Amazing, right? But does sun get contaminated because it absorbs the urine? Sure. And that is called as prophylactic. Prophylactic means though sun absorbs the urine, sun doesn't get contaminated. So similarly, when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna is also like that. Krishna can remove all the urine like misgivings in our heart, lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion, jealousy. All these things Krishna can absorb it from the mind, render the mind clean, but himself uncontaminated. This is Krishna, and therefore is called as Apapavidham, antiseptic and Apapavidham, prophylactic. Go back. Yeah, isn't it? So therefore, when we add Krishna to our life, our mind becomes purified. A pure mind is always easy to control. So, what agitates the mind is lust, anger, greed. Lust, anger, greed is the agitator. Mm. It is agitating the mind. Till the time we have lust, anger, greed, we cannot be peaceful because we always want more. As they, as they say, dil mange more. So we always want more and more. Sometimes we think if I get, I'm a lakpati, if I become crorepati, then I'll be peaceful. You think so? Maybe from a mediocre person to a millionaire. Is it sufficient? Perhaps multi-millionaire. Is it sufficient? Perhaps billionaire. Is it sufficient? No. When you become billionaire, you'll understand. As of now, you'll say, Prabhuji, bus job dila dijiye. Whatever salary, no problem. In this market, I just need a job. But then another boy came to me and he said, Prabhu, I have one job, but I'm not satisfied. I want more. Isn't it? And now someone who wants more, he wants better position. One who has a good position, he wants the best position. One who has best position, one best position, a better company, and the story never ends. And therefore, you will find in this way the mind always remains agitated because dil mange more. It's always you want more and more. There is no satisfaction of heart. We can never be peaceful in that way. Mm. So, and that is not just with respect to job, with respect to money, with any kind of facilities. We are probably staying with four people in a 2 BHK, and we are all dreaming, when will that day come when I can live in my own apartment? Then, when you get your own apartment, we are thinking, when will that day come when I can own a bungalow and a car in New Jersey? Isn't it? And then, when you're owning a bungalow and a car, then you're thinking, when will that day come when I can own a posh car, probably two cars? Then one is so like this. One is keeps dreaming after dreaming. The mind never keeps quiet. How can we be peaceful? Hmm. Like for example, how many of you know Hiranyakashipu, the most famous, or should I say, most infamous Hiranyakashipu? So Hiranyakashipu, he had everything under his control. How much? If he would go out for a stroll in the park, and it would be little more sunny, like say for he wanted it to be about 70 degree Fahrenheit, and it was 74, and he could not tolerate because everything was under his control. Nature was his remote control. Like he would immediately look at the sun. Bhagavatam explains, and he would move with the movement of his eyebrow. Immediately, the sun would reduce to 70 degree Fahrenheit. Or if he goes out for a stroll in the park, and if it's too cold, he can immediately tell the wind to stop flowing now, because he's going out, and he can tell the sun to increase. We are also like that little Hiranyakashipu, but within the room, our remote control, isn't it? We are also increase temperature, reduce temperature, turn off the AC, turn off the AC. These things we do, but within the room. But Hiranyakashipu had three worlds under his control. It is explained when he would climb to his throne, the demigods were his steps. He would climb on the heads of the demigods and go. This is Hiranyakashipu. He had everything. Whatever you're desiring, whatever you want to be in your life, Hiranyakashipu had everything. Everything was under his control. Except one thing. You know what? His son. One 5-year-old boy said, I will not chant your name. He would chant Om Namo Narayanaya. Hiranyakashipu said, shut up. You should chant Om Hiranyakashipaya Namaha. Boy said, no, I will not chant that. I will chant Om Namo Narayanaya. So then Hiranyakashipu, what I would have done if I was in Hiranyakashipu's place, I would have told, okay, you rascal, you go to the far end of the other world, across the globe. If I was in US, you go to China. So that you do whatever you want there, I will do whatever I want. Anyway, three worlds are in my control. Why should I be agitated by the acts of one boy at a 5-year-old? Isn't it? But Hiranyakashipu could not tolerate. What he could not tolerate? That this one boy had the guts to say no to me. He is not listening to me. There's one element out of millions of elements which are under my control. One element is not under my control. How can I tolerate that? And that was the beginning of the end of Hiranyakashipu. If Hiranyakashipu can have everything and not be satisfied, what is the guarantee that when we get something, we will be satisfied? Is there any guarantee? When I used to be a school going kid, there used to be one dance competition. This the dance competition. I don't know. It was on ZTV or something. Pretty famous. I just no name is not coming in my mind. So in that dance competition, there was one person from a village, I think in Bihar or something, and they asked him, "What is your? Why do you want to participate in this dance competition?" He said, if I win the money, I will do something for my village. Probably construct a well or some social service I will do. And he won the entire competition. He got 1 crore rupees or something. And later on, maybe 6 months passed, and then he was asked, "So were you able to help your village with the money?" He said, "No, I'm busy enjoying with the money." He never helped. He didn't even give $5, ₹5 for his village, isn't it? Why? Because when we don't have money, we can speak big things, isn't it? What will you do? In interview questions, what will you do if someone gives you $1 million? Yeah, boys generally how they write. In schools, we have done this quiz. So first they write, first I'll give 50% to my parents. The biggest lie. Then I'll give another 25% to society, another 20% for my future, 5% I'll use for myself. Looks very noble, sounds very noble, but when you actually get $1 million, do you have the capacity to do that? Why not? Because the mind is not controlled. Nat tripyat ajitendriya. That is the description of Hiranyakashipu. He was not satisfied because his senses were not controlled. That means he never learned a lesson how to say no to sense gratification. Some rich people's kids, they're like spoiled brats because since childhood they were only given whatever they wanted. How many of us are such kids? You got whatever you wanted since childhood?
I've seen others.
You have seen others. What about yourself?
No,
No?
never.
You're a very good boy. Okay. Some people are there, isn't it? That whatever since childhood, the mummy or papa gives whatever they want. Can they ever learn? When they grow up, they develop a bad habit of getting or expecting that whatever I need, it should come to my doorstep. But that's not how life works, isn't it? And therefore, they don't know how to say, they don't know how to take failure, how to take losses in style. They get affected by it. So, why am I discussing all this? Now you can understand how important it is to control the mind. Mind control is very, very important. What to talk about spiritual progress, even material progress. Mind control is important. So, one solution we discuss is regular chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because names of Krishna, name of God is spiritual. Any religion you take, they chant name of God because name of God is spiritual. So spiritual sound vibration has effect on the heart by purifying it. It's antiseptic. And Krishna in himself, by absorbing our bad misgivings of the heart, he doesn't get affected. So we discussed that one. And second, by doing regular meditation, we are training to control the mind. That means just try 5 minutes chanting Hare Krishna. The mind goes everywhere. To those of you who have tried, you know it. To chant for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, mind cannot sit because we have never trained the mind to sit. And therefore, the training to control the mind is given in childhood. But today, such training is not given. So we don't know how to control the mind, isn't it? So therefore, when we chant Hare Krishna regularly, at least 10 minutes a day, what are we doing? We are cultivating control of the mind. That means you're telling the mind, come back. Come back and focus on this mantra. Mind says, no, no, but what about so many other gazillion things I have to do? No. For next 10 minutes, this mantra. When you train the mind to sit on one thing, then even if you want to study, you can train the mind, okay, abhi studies karna hai. Mind will say, no, I have to hang out with my friends. You will say, no, studies. But because we have never trained the mind, now you say, mind, studies. Mind will say, get lost, hang out with friends. Then you will helplessly follow the mind, isn't it? And therefore, control of mind is very important. So, first of all, solution is chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And last time we said we'll see what kind of austerities to be performed to control the mind. Krishna says in 17th chapter. I'll show you quickly. On his speech. Mine is next one. Okay. Can you please repeat? Mana prasad saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhirityeta tapo manasam uchyate. What is manaprasada? Manaprasada means satisfaction of the mind. Saumyatvam means simplicity. Maunam means gravity. Atma vinigraha, self control. And bhava samshuddhi, purification of one's nature. Like purification of heart. This is called as austerity of the mind. So, if you want to control your mind, you have to go through austerities, isn't it? Like if you want to succeed in your exam, what is austerity? Sometimes to crack IIT, children don't watch movies for 2 years, you know that? And still they might not get into IIT. So it's an austerity. Similarly, to control the mind, there is austerity Krishna mentions. First one is satisfaction. Can you read?
And translation and satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of the mind.
No, can you turn on the AC? Because there's no flow of air. Can you please read again?
And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self control, and purification of one's existence are the
Yeah.
austerities of the mind.
Purport?
To make the mind austere is to detach it from sense gratification.
Yeah. How do you make the mind austere? What is austerity for the mind really? Detachment. But from what? Sense gratification. Yeah. Sense gratification. To make the mind austere means to detach it from sense gratification. More the mind and sense gratification little apart, more the mind becomes controlled. Mm. Yeah, continue.
It should be so trained that it can be always thinking of doing good for others. The best training for the mind is gravity in thought. One should not deviate from Krishna consciousness and must always avoid sense gratification. To purify one's nature is to become Krishna conscious. Satisfaction of the mind can be obtained only by taking the mind away from thoughts of sense enjoyment. The more we think of sense enjoyment, the more the mind becomes dissatisfied. In the present age, we unnecessarily engage the mind in so many different ways for sense gratification. And so there is no possibility of the mind's becoming satisfied. The best course is to divert the mind to the Vedic literature, which is full of satisfying stories, as in the Puranas and the Mahabharata. One can take advantage of this knowledge and thus become purified. The mind should be devoid of duplicity, and one should think of the welfare of all. Silence means that one is always thinking of self realization. The person in Krishna consciousness observes perfect silence in this sense. Control of the mind means detaching the mind from sense enjoyment. One should be straightforward in his dealings and thereby purify his existence. All these qualities together constitute austerity in mental activities.
See, Prabhupada mentions many valuable points. So main thing, we have to focus first on satisfaction. Hmm. How to attain satisfaction? What did Prabhupada say?
That from self.
More?
By only
No.
taking
No,
the
you should not
mind.
read. Disqualified. You cannot read.
Okay.
Yeah, you need attentive hearing. Yes. Okay, good. Okay, divert the mind to Vedic literatures, because mind wants entertainment. So give a good form of entertainment, that is where you'll also get educated side by side. Don't give mind, item song and degraded enjoyment. That will pollute the mind even further, isn't it? Give a enriching entertainment to the mind. Okay, good, thank you. And one more Prabhupada said before that, yeah.
I had something.
Okay, yes.
Do not engage mind in thinking about sense enjoyment.
Yes, satisfaction of mind is attained when we don't contemplate on sense enjoyment. Then we have satisfaction. So, why generally people are not satisfied? It is because they're always bombarded. One you can say is because when you go out into the city today, we are all bombarded with so many ads. Why city? Even when we go on YouTube, any social media, so many advertisement, isn't it? Basically, it is showing what you want to be, or just be this. Mm. There are movie posters, movie ads. Or if you go to Times Square, all kinds of ads, isn't it? Enjoy with the opposite sex, and one is thinking, "Harsh, I had some chance." So then, because for example, say you got, say for example, Prabhu, do you have a car? Okay, I'm going to give you a nice car. It is Toyota Corolla. Okay, and take the keys and okay, you're happy now. You'll pay your own insurance, by the way. Okay, but take this car. So he didn't have anything, so now he got a car. Very nice. So he's happy. But then his friend Jant comes and says, "Do you know what? I just won a Tesla in the lottery. Can you be happy anymore?" No. Though he got the Toyota Corolla for free, because his friend has Tesla, now he's thinking, when will I get my Tesla? Isn't it? And therefore, because one keeps thinking of sense enjoyment, comparison. Yeah, I am studying in New York University, but my friend is studying in UC Berkeley. The problem is not that I'm studying in NYU. Problem is he's studying in UC Berkeley. That's the real problem, isn't it? So therefore, the mind becomes unsatisfied. Then one thinks, "Eh, I should have put more effort, or I should have planned better. I should have arranged my finance better so that I could have gone to UC Berkeley. I missed it." See, dissatisfied. Why? Because we are always thinking of sense enjoyment, isn't it? So therefore, in this world, we are in such a position today. All the ads are just telling you what you don't have. One ad was there. The ad said, do you know what you can do with your $1 million in Manhattan? You have seen that ad? Real estate ad. And it says you can purchase a penthouse in such and such locality in Manhattan on the top floor of such a tall building, and you can have the entire skyline view of Manhattan. And poor immigrants coming to this country, they just want to earn livelihood. Now he has shown this ad. Now they are working hard, thinking that one day I will also own a penthouse in Manhattan. Isn't it? You think it's that easy? He just said with $1 million you can own a penthouse. You work hard, get $1 million and purchase a penthouse. After that, maintenance charge, isn't it? So many charges come. Like it's easy to purchase a car, but after the insurance, maintenance, now congestion relief toll, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now many. Sorry. Yes, $9 every time you enter with car. See, so you understand. So sometimes when you're advertising, what do you say? Take the car, but we'll not say what strings are attached, isn't it? Sometimes you have to pay more for the maintenance, and so many things are there. Fuel doesn't come free of cost, right? Fuel also have to pay, and fuel prices also sometimes go up. like the mobile station close to our home on Flatbush Avenue, leading to Manhattan Bridge. Literally, if you are that, it is about $5 per liter per gallon. Sorry, $5 per gallon. Costliest, as if they have put some gold inside the gas. $5 per gallon. But if you go to New Jersey, you'll get in $2.75 per gallon. See, because now they inflate prices. So though you purchased a commodity, are you peaceful? Are you satisfied? No. So therefore, sometimes there are so many ads, so many people telling us so many things about what all you can gain, how you can enjoy in this material world, and we are thinking, I also want to be in that position of enjoying this material world. But even if you come to the position of enjoying this material world, there's so many strings attached which we don't see, and it becomes more of a burden than enjoyment. Does that make sense? How many of you are able to relate to what I'm saying? Yeah. Sometimes we come, like for example, in when we are in India, many people say go to US. If you go to US, you'll be living like James Bond, isn't it? But you come to US, how will we live? There was a meme on Facebook or something. You see that? How my friends think I'm living, dancing with a girlfriend and going to parties and clubs and everything. But how am I actually living? Washing pot, household chores. Yeah, it's all just advertising, isn't it? So therefore, if we become satisfied, then we don't get affected by the things of this world. And satisfaction is a state of mind. Satisfaction means you are always rich. You know how? Okay, there's a tip for all of you to become very rich.
Minimizing needs.
Not that simple. Let me show you. Okay, let me. Okay, okay. If you have two things, you have one called as, is it big enough or very small? Okay, desires. Okay, and then you have something called as assets. Okay, if desires are greater than assets, asset means it could be anything according to your current position. From your maybe a middle class working person, or you're a billionaire, millionaire, whatever current assets. But if your desires are greater than your assets, are you rich or poor?
Poor. Poor.
Poor, isn't it? That means you can be a billionaire. You can be a billionaire, but if you still have better, more desires than a billionaire can handle, that $1 billion falls short. Are you rich or poor?
Poor.
Poor. So don't fall for it. If your friend calls you and tells you, "Hey, I have just $1 billion, I'm rich," no, you have to ask him how many desires you have. Can your $1 billion fulfill all your desires? Then you'll get to know whether he's rich or poor. Poor. Now, if you have desires and then you have assets, but your desires are less than your assets, and you might be a mediocre person, like middle class, but your desires are still less than your assets. Are you rich or poor?
Rich.
And therefore, we need satisfaction. Does this make sense? Yeah. So therefore, we need satisfaction, and that is all control of the mind. This is austerity for the mind. So even if you earn the wealth of the entire world, if you have unlimited desires to be fulfilled, you will always remain poor. At least that will be your experience. You'll never live like a rich man. But if you don't have so many desires, you're satisfied with what you have, then you will live like a rich man, though people may not consider you rich. Who cares what people think? But you can live like a rich man. Does that make sense? So, therefore, first austerity of the mind is manaprasada. Manaprasada means satisfaction. So don't worry what my friend has. Don't worry what the ads are saying. The ads are telling you, you have to be this. I don't have to be that. You have to be what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. What Krishna wants you to be? Billionaire? Satisfied? He wants you to be a devotee. That's all. You be Krishna's devotee, you'll be satisfied automatically. Isn't it? Because how many Hare Krishna mantras you can chant? Unlimited. Isn't it? You are a millionaire. Chant million times, you're a millionaire. Isn't it? So First one is Manaprasada. Saumyatvam means simplicity. Simplicity means if we are surrounding ourselves by luxury, by a lot of possessions, the mind gets also affected, isn't it? So simple living means how much is required, that much is sufficient. Yeah, sometimes winter you might have to wear some little more extra clothes, but some people extra cloth also has to be branded. I mean, I'm not against that, but sometimes simply what happens when we are not simple is we become duplicitous. Duplicitous means we have to be show double personality. That means, sorry, yeah, show off. Yeah, you can say show off, or sometimes you will tell we might tell our friends, yeah, yeah, I don't want so much of money, but inside we are thinking I want money. You're two different personality. We cannot be simple. People are straightforward. What is in the heart is outside, external also. But duplicitous people are not like that. Duplicitous people also have to worry maintaining the duplicity. Simplicity is straightforward, nothing to cover. So, mana prasada saumyatvam. In saumyatvam, when we make our mind simple or have simple living, then the tension also reduces. Like for example, say this Casio watch. Say I'm walking out the door and I hit my hand on the wall and a crack came. How much will I worry? It's just $20, isn't it? So instead of that, some luxury watch is there, $1,000 watch, and I'm casually walking and hit the wall, and the wall there's a crack. How much will I worry? Too much, isn't it? Like that. So therefore, the simplicity. You know, how much? What is the purpose of watch? No, to show off to others. Yeah, time is secondary. Isn't it? First time you have time finished, isn't it? Like for example, what is the purpose of phone? Receive calls.
I've gone beyond that.
Yeah. Then GPS. Okay. Wow. GPS. Then entertainment. Purpose of phone is entertainment. क्या ना कॉल के साथ खेलेंगे क्या प्रैंक कॉल करेंगे ओके या quick info access. Okay, I don't think you guys know what phone purpose is. The purpose of phone is actually communication. It's therefore cellular phone, yeah? Our mobile phone. Basic communication. They've added more facility. Say, okay, we will add further. We will include accommodate all the other interests. What are the interests? Quick info check or entertainment, movie watching, drawing. Now you can do whatever. So everything, apps, games, everything is there. But at the same time, for example, say iPhone 13 was released. Next year they released iPhone 14. But people get agitated. मेरे पास 14 नहीं है, 13 है, old model. Same functionality, isn't it? Then they release 15. Same functionality, but people are agitated. मुझे वो चाहिए 15. Now they have 16. How many of you have iPhone 16 here? Okay, good. Isn't it? So then we get agitated that मेरे पास 16 नहीं है, 16 चाहिए. Is there any difference? Even if you accommodate these other extra interests, still it is accommodated. You don't need a new phone. But people feel very insecure. मेरे पास I'm not up to date. I'm not able to purchase the latest gadget, isn't it? And therefore, what happens? People become duplicitous because now they want to work hard. Then your friend will ask, "Hey, आपके पास क्या phone है?" Then you say, "Yeah, mine is a simple phone. You are not able to show." Then he says, "मेरे पास iPhone 13 है." "Oh, actually, mine is iPhone 14." You know, so the double behavior comes like that. So therefore, manaprasada saumyatvam. Saumyatvam, the simplicity goes away. Even if you have iPhone 10, iPhone 11, same thing. You don't have to run behind. Yes, bro.
Just a question. So, don't you think that some people might conflate what you're saying as being as pushing lack of ambition? Because there can be four archetypes of people who have
Lack
more.
of ambition.
Yeah. So because we can have four archetypes where you have more and satisfied, less and still satisfied, more and not satisfied, less and not satisfied. So how is it that a person who has more and
If
still
you are
satisfied
satisfied,
leading a simple life like you're
right.
saying?
If
living
you,
a normal
yeah,
body.
if you're satisfied, it doesn't matter what you have more or less.
Yeah.
So more unsatisfied, less unsatisfied doesn't matter.
So then you're addressing the archetypes which are less and not satisfied, or
I'm
more, or
addressing,
both of them more and less
yeah,
and
I'm
satisfied,
addressing the
less and not
people who are
satisfied.
not satisfied.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it can be more or less they have or not.
If you're satisfied, you're not
That's
working
allowed.
unnecessarily. Yeah. You're
Okay.
not working hard unnecessarily if you're satisfied. If you're unsatisfied, you're working hard and whatever you get, you're not satisfied. So it never stops.
This is
Yeah.
cycle of relentlessness being in it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Could it be that that there is this inherent tendency, and not for all but for the majority, to seek constantly some meaning in whatever they are indulging in, and
Correct.
many a
Yeah.
times, because of how the configuration of framework we are born into is such that right from the birth or from many previous generations, we are simply mispositioned or misaligned into finding where that meaning could be, and we are just
Yeah. Let's not pass the buck onto previous generation, or oh, I was sorry, I was born into a wrong
no,
framework.
no, no, that's not
Okay.
what I'm saying is that when we are born, we find that is not to say that, oh, I am not accountable for this,
Right.
because after a point when we have the capacity to know the world, the responsibility comes on us as well. But what I'm trying to say is that largely this world is such that the meaning that we have the inherent tendency to find meaning, so we are always going to do something, or we cannot just sit idle and do
Correct.
nothing.
Yeah.
But the larger uh, that we come across is such that we sort of tend to find that meaning in a different direction than what it should be. Like, that search for meaning is very inherent, but
Correct.
we tend to find the meaning in a very different,
Elsewhere. Yeah.
and maybe that is what is leading to all these
Oh no,
confusions.
no, because we are not satisfied, we are looking for meaning elsewhere. So that's the thing. So when we are satisfied, then we can invest energy in the right direction. Understand? No. Like for example, if I'm not satisfied with how I look, I cannot even get out of my room because I'm always busy combing my hair and putting cosmetic. 1 hour goes there. Because I'm not satisfied. But if I'm satisfied, okay, how God has given my body, my face cut, it is, you cannot change it, isn't it? Just two little combing, done, 5 minutes, get out. Then you can work for a higher purpose. But if you're not satisfied, then you have to waste a lot of time in working on it. Mm. So therefore, you can say both of them depend on one another. But at the same time, therefore, Krishna is telling Arjuna these 5 austerities of the mind. What we can do about it? We can voluntarily from our side practice satisfaction, from our side practice simplicity and the other factors. Then naturally, when mind calms down, when the mind is controlled, then automatically the focus goes on something that matters, isn't it? Otherwise, time is unnecessarily wasted in so many directions. Therefore, Krishna is telling, make the mind austere. Don't make it like a pampered, spoiled brat. Yeah. So after simplicity, he says the third one is gravity of thought. Gravity of thought means, as if you've heard in English, there's a saying, empty vessels make much noise. That means if one is simply talking, simply more talking than hearing. If you look at our face, we have 2 ears and one mouth. That means hear more, speak less. Isn't it? That means we have to first hear, first learn, and then share. So, gravity of thought means one who has gravity of thought, he doesn't speak or blabber unnecessarily. As Sri Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, that which is required only to be spoken. Otherwise, maunam, keep silence. Maunam is don't speak unnecessarily. Mind is always screaming in the head, isn't it? So we have to make the mind grave. How? Let the mind contemplate on the purpose of life. The mind becomes grave. Let mind think about Krishna. Mind becomes grave. Let mind do something selflessly for others. Mind becomes grave. But you tell the mind do something for sense gratification for one's own self, then it becomes naughty and noisy, isn't it? So therefore, mind we also have to practice maunam, that is silence of the mind. That means don't think of useless things. Think of Krishna, think of purpose of life in others. And maunam atma vinigraha. Atma vinigraha means self control. Self control, of course, a huge, big topic. But of course, self control also is with the mind. That means not that whatever mind wants, we have to fulfill it. Mhm. Sometimes, my mind has some kind of loose thoughts. Loose thoughts means mind is thinking, you know, if I hit a person, what will he do? Isn't it? If I just poke this person, what will he do? So it's just not naughty mind. So self control means you restrict the mind. You have seen the race horses. Race horses always have blinders, just so that they don't get distracted. Similarly, the mind also needs a boundary, mm, where it is encouraged, where it is not encouraged. Bad habits, no encouragement. Mm. Where the mind can go out of control, no encouragement. If one is weak on the phone, then one needs no internet. Use internet only in public place. Don't use privately. Like that. So we have to draw boundary for the mind. Otherwise, mind can go uncontrolled, and that is called as Atma Vinigraha. Bhava Samshuddhi means purification of the mind or existence, and that is what we discussed in the beginning of about lust, anger, greed. That has to be purified from the mind. The contaminated mind has to become purified mind. Contaminated mind is the cause of material existence. It is the cause. We cannot even sit peacefully. We are today. Who can sit peacefully? Attention span is not there. It's only like 8 seconds. The current record. 8 seconds means every 8 seconds we are thinking of something else. That means as I'm speaking, every 8 seconds you have thought something else and you have missed out something in between. Isn't it? No attention span. Mm. So therefore, and it is said, of course, a goldfish has, I think, 12 seconds or 9 seconds goldfish attention span. So we have defeated the goldfish also. So in this way, you find we need bhava samshuddhi means purification of the mind. When the mind becomes pure, mind can sit in one place. Impure mind is always attracted to impurities of this world. A pure mind is attracted to purity. Impure mind goes towards degraded habits. Pure mind goes towards elevating habits. So therefore, more we chant Hare Krishna and purify the mind, more we purify our existence. And this way we can live a purposeful life. Therefore, Krishna is speaking these things in this chapter. So to conclude, let's say, yeah, this is 17. This is go to the next one. Yeah. So bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmajitah anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatma shatruvat. Krishna says, the best of friends Arjuna, whereas uncontrolled mind is the worst of enemies. Uncontrolled mind, frivolous, restless, uncontrolled mind. Rather, he says maunam, grave. The mind should be focused. Otherwise, so much time is lost. And what happens when you control the mind is 6.7. जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः. For that person, jitatmana means one who has conquered the mind. Paramatma samahitaha. He can contact Paramatma. Where is Paramatma? In our own heart. We all have our own Paramatma. Paramatma is also speaking, mind is also speaking, but mind is screaming. So mental noise covers the voice of the Paramatma. So therefore, Krishna is telling Arjuna, what is the benefit of controlling the mind? You can hear God within yourself. Paramatma samahitaha. And what is the symptom of such a person who can hear the voice of Paramatma? Shita ushna sukha dukkeshu tata manapamanayoho. He doesn't get affected by the dualities of this world. What is that? Shita ushna, cold and heat. Doesn't mind. Sukha dukkha. Sukha dukkha means happiness, distress. Or manapamana, insult or appreciation. He doesn't mind. he is not affected by the dualities because he is completely on a transcendental or spiritual platform at this point in time. So now you can understand how important it is to control the mind. Hmm. Jitatmana prashantasya. Prashantasya means such a person becomes very happy. Prashant. Hmm. Shant, prakrishta rupena shant is prashant. Prashant means not just peaceful but positive. Your peace is just zero, negation of suffering. But prashant is you're happy. Prashantasya. Can will you read translation? Translation. Can you read?
Translation: For one who has just hold this. Okay. For one who has conquered the mind, the supersoul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same.
Yeah. And purport we can go next time. Go through next time. Yeah. Okay. We can go to the next. The effect of controlling the mind is that one automatically follows the dictation of Paramatma Super Soul. Yeah. So therefore, in this world, we are all following the mind, making mind the guru. But instead of following the mind, we should follow Krishna's orders. Paramatma is in the heart, but who is the? He's called as Chaitya Guru, the guru in the heart. But because we are not able to hear him, we have to accept a guru externally. So external guru is the manifestation of the guru inside. So we ask Guru, what do you want me to do? And Guru directs. Arjuna is not initially Arjuna was listening to his mind, and therefore he was giving excuse after excuse why I cannot fight this war. But then he submitted to Krishna and told him that I don't understand what I am supposed to do. And therefore he accepted Guru. That means he told mind, I'm no more your servant. I'm not going to listen to you anymore. And therefore Arjuna was able to attain success. Isn't it? So therefore, to conquer the mind, don't listen to it. That is also another way of conquering the mind. And we have to purify the mind. So we'll pause here. Yeah, you have a question?
Yes, Prabhu. So when you mentioned that when we conquer the mind, we are happy, we come above being peaceful, is that happiness always there, or does it also have like a wave? Like, does it come down or up?
Well, it depends on your activities. Depends if you come back to material life, materialistic living, you will be affected by dualities. The happiness is only eternal when on a spiritual platform. Hmm? Okay. So next time we'll continue from 6.8. Okay. So thank you very much. Of course, because then many new faces, don't be in tension that prasadam is getting over. Prasadam is all saved for attendees of this class. Mm. And uh, before we proceed to prasadam, we will chant because we understood the importance of chanting the holy name. We will chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We'll give the beads. We will chant.